What is up, everybody? Welcome to another album review. Today I'm going to be doing the second Pierce the Veil album, and it is titled Selfish Machines. This is my favorite album ever, so just keep that in mind when we're ranking it, but I will try to be a little bit more objective here, because it's not fair for me to literally just go out here and give it a 10 when we know I can dig a little bit deeper. So it starts off with a track called Besitos, which kind of gives off a little bit of that Spanish influence. The guitar is it has a very I want to say Latino pop sound to it. But I don't know. When you know the song Despacito, when you think of the guitar at the beginning of that song, that's kind of what you hear in Besitos at the beginning. But it gets it basically is like that, but like with more rock influence. And that track is excellent. Right after that, you have kind of Southern Constellations and The Boy Who Could Fly kind of mixed together. Both the song, Southern Constellations is basically an intro to The Boy Who Could Fly, and they're both pretty good tracks. Southern Constellations, you'll never hear that kind of sound really again from Pierce the Veil. They don't tend to do a very slow kind of song. The Boy Who Could Fly is very, very good, and that kind of sets the tone for what Paraphernalia is going to be, which is my favorite song of all time. It's very, very good. I think the thing that really stands out between these first couple songs is kind of a hope. You kind of feel some hope. Besitos kind of takes away some of that. The real lyrical standpoint of Besitos is that someone has just completely given up on you, and so you're going to give up on them. But the other three kind of maybe the narrator, the person who's singing the song, isn't really aware that they have no chance here. With the presumed girl. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of every Pierce the Veil album, is there's always just a girl that, and every song's about her basically. But from those songs, you kind of transition into more into kind of lighter songs. Fast Times at Claremont High is definitely more of a faster. It is slower, but it's also it's not as fast paced as Paraphernalia is. It's also not as intense as Paraphernalia is. The new national anthem follows that same beat, as does Bulletproof Love, as does Stay Away From My Friends. This little four-way of songs kind of sets the tone for what the ending of the album is going to sound like, which is different from the beginning. The beginning is very fast-paced, very quick, very go at it. The next couple songs after Stay Away From My Friends are very much they're not slower, because none of these songs are slow because they're all rock songs, but they're not intense. You can kind of sing along with some of these. Specifically, Bulletproof Love is very easy to sing along to. Fast Times at Claremont High is the best out of this little four group, probably followed by Stay Away From My Friends. The new national anthem is the worst song on the album. It just doesn't provide anything that I'm not already getting from songs like Fast Times at Claremont High. It's kind of slower. It doesn't have a good chorus. It doesn't really have good instrumental. It's just kind of there. After this little four group, which honest to God is probably the toughest part of the album to really get through, you have I Don't Care If You're Contagious, Disasterology, and $1 Million Houses, also known as The Painter. And these songs are basically they're a bridge to get to what I consider to be one of the best songs in the album, which is basically the last track on the album. I Don't Care If You're Contagious. Its main point here is to kind of get you back into that. Stay With My Friends is very slow. I Don't Care If You're Contagious meant to wake you up. Then Disasterology kind of keeps that kind of tempo going. Disasterology is not as good, just because again you need a really infectious chorus, and you don't get that here. You don't even get good verses. Disasterology is just kind of mid. $1 Million Houses, brings you back. It is slower, but it's only because you know it's like when you're on a roller coaster and you're kind of at the end of the roller coaster and you're about to drop. That's what Million Dollar Houses is. Because then you go with The Sky Under the Sea, which I think is probably the best song on the album objectively, not in my opinion, but just like if you were to listen to it, most people would probably say this is the best. It's the closing, but it's also, it brings back the intensity of I Don't Care If You're Contagious and those songs at the beginning of the album minus Southern Constellations, and it ends you off on a good note. And then they fucked up the album. And they did. Because what they did after this was they gave the bonus track on the reissued version in 2013, Kissing in Cars. And this song is just super slow. I don't love it. It's really not that good. And then it continues with Dirty Words Makes Her Sound Pretty, I think is the next one. Again, very slow, very not that good, kind of unfinished. It kind of has like an unfinished feel to it. Then you get into Paraphernalia Acoustic and Bulletproof Love Acoustic, which are only on the Australian versions of the album. These are okay. Paraphernalia Acoustic is miles better than Bulletproof Love Acoustic, because Bulletproof Love is already almost acoustic, apparently, because they sounded the exact same. But Paraphernalia Acoustic does kind of bring a new sound to it. All in all, if you take out the extra songs at the end of the album, which obviously I basically like 100% of the album, I made sure to check every single box, but like you're not going to get the Australian version, but I think honestly they hurt the album. This album would have been a 10, but the songs at the end of the album are just not necessary. Kissing in Cars especially, because that actually is a song that's meant to be on the album. That was a song that was meant to be on the album with the reissue. And it's not good. And the reissue too is not good either, but I'm reading this mostly as all the OG songs. Because those are the best versions of the songs, and I'm not going to try to be like, oh, well, the reissue. No. I'm going to pretend the reissue doesn't exist except to add bonus tracks. Kissing in Cars is not really that good. It's probably one of my least favorite Pierce the Veil songs, and it hurts the album, in my opinion. It's way too slow. It doesn't fit the tone. The Sky Under the Sea was the perfect ending to this album, and unfortunately, they did not end it that way. Therefore, I'm going to only give Selfish Machines a solid 9. It's going to be a solid 9. And again, if it wasn't for that, it probably would have gotten 10. And I don't even like the new national anthem. I just like all the rest of the songs in the album way too much for that to really impact my score. Next up is what is next up? I'm blanking on the name of their third album, but that's what's next. Collide with the Sky, that's what it is. This is Collide with the Sky is very similar to Selfish Machines in terms of actual tone and quality, maybe a little bit more refurbished, I guess is the word. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm sure we'll be back with more album reviews at some point later on. I'm going to try to upload my next one on Friday, so if you guys want to tune in for that, that's awesome. After this, I'm hoping to get back to the MCU reviews, but I guess we'll have to wait and see on what people want to see. But I'm going to finish up. I'm going to do Collide with the Sky, and then I'm going to do Misadventures, and then we'll go from there. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.